they've matched last year's win total. You got 4 games left. And now you got a Colts team who they might not have a quarterback.
They're limping in.
They don't have a healthy quarterback on the roster right now. So that feels like another no excuse. You win, and that's what you saw this week. And this was a weird game in that the first half was like, what is going on here? Defense was spectacular. Defense was great. Offense, what is happening? Well, I don't understand. I mean, it was really a tale of two halves, to say the very least. It was Sam Darnold in the first half, 9 of 15, 67 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. And you're like, what? This is not good. Second half, it's a new day. 11 of 15, 182 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable. I don't know what was going on in the first half versus the second. We'll get into all the details of it, but Darnold comes back. He had that swagger that we saw in the first 9 games, and then JSN, after a 1-week reprieve, is back to doing his thing.
Play fake. Blitz is coming. Throw inside on the slant. It's caught. JSN breaks a tackle. He's going to go in. Touchdown, Seahawks. From 28 out, no flags. A Falcon stays down back near the line of scrimmage, but the offense for Seattle runs to the end zone to congratulate Jackson Smith and Jigba. Another touchdown reception. JSN now his 8th touchdown catch.
Yeah, what's funny about that? I mean, I think that was the product of just chipping away at them, and that's kind of what they did in the first half. I felt like it was like body blow, body blow, body blow, and just kind of hang with that team, and it's kind of how Kubiak is. Like, I don't think he thinks if he can play with a team and kind of keep the score close, that he can get some stuff in the second half. And I'm not saying it's second half adjustments, because that always gets, Bumpus was just talking about that the other day. And yeah, I mean, you realize how quickly halftime goes by. And even for us, I mean, I'm trying to go get a hot dog or whatever, and it's like, it just goes by like that. So it's not like you have like a whole hour or something, but yeah, that's the way I think Kubiak kind of coaches. He kind of figures things out. On that play, I thought it was absolute genius by Clint Kubiak, because they were in cover 1, so they had a safety in the middle of the field, and they ran Shaheed on a crosser that was just enough to get in that safety's way. And so what the safety had to do in order to not run into the receiver, he had to take a path that was almost like an L, like a backwards L. So and instead of just going straight over there and covering him. And so it was just like a perfect design. And now I'm not saying that JSN didn't do anything great there, and it wasn't a great pass or anything, but it just looked like the product of, like, okay, we're slowly trying to figure this team out. Meanwhile, we're hanging with them. We're playing really good defense. It's 6-6 at halftime. And then, just the design of that play. And talked to somebody last night. I asked them about it, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what they were trying to get done there. They were trying to accomplish. And it's just one little part of the field that they're attacking. Now, obviously, you had to get the type of protection to let that play develop just a little bit. But for the most part, I thought the design for that play was amazing. And it just, kind of had Clint Kubiak written all over it, that was something that they were, going to come back to at some point. And so I just had to be patient in that one. In the meantime, in the first half, he just loved the defense and watching, some of the things that they did.
Defense has been unreal. And they just keep, as they say, stacking these games where they are just dominant. Not just good, but dominant. I mean, the Falcons were 1 for 13 on third down conversions. 1 for 13. You allowed 3 field goals and under 300 yards total. I mean, there wasn't anything they didn't do. I mean, what could you complain about with the defense? That they got just 1 sack? Would that be the biggest complaint?
Yeah, maybe.
You force 3 turnovers. You allow 3 field goals. They are a special group. That is a special group out there.
Well, I think that is kind of what they take into account, right? So your defense is going to keep you in pretty much every game, especially your defensive line. They're just so good. But and then Julian Love only played in like 8 or 10 plays, I think. And so they're slowly. He said this last week that they have a plan for him. So apparently that was it. He was going to go out there for the first couple series, and then that was it for him. But you saw Ty Okada out there. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of how they sort of, it's not just, hey, I'm the offensive coordinator and I'm going to call this play, that play. It's kind of like, okay, well, how's this game going, and how do we see it going, and how are we going to like slowly start to chip away at him? And then they finally did in the second half.
Yeah, it's that first half was really, really odd. It was just odd. These slow, and we've seen them get off to these quick starts where they pile up a ton of yardage, they pile up a ton of points, and we've seen the polar opposite of this. So it's kind of a weird trend. I mean, look, in the end, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even a contest, but just an odd start to the game for sure.
Yeah, well, and it's not common of what they've been doing this year, because if you look at them going into this game, they've outscored their opponents 83-42 in the first quarter. And then if you go to the second quarter, 127-44. In the second quarter. So they have started fast, but this was just a different game. And, I always say this, I mean, I think, I'm not trying to get too like philosophical, but every game kind of takes on its own personality, it's its own entity. And I just thought it was cool that they recognized that, hey, we're going to have to kind of chip away at this game and then take, the chances when they give them to us. And in the meantime, try to run the ball. And yeah, I mean, and typically they have started out fast, and that's been something that has been a problem for the Seahawks for a long time. But this year, it's been phenomenal. So that's really the first game where they didn't really, well, I mean, other than the ones that they lost, that they didn't, in a winning effort, jump out to an early lead.
Yeah, and they're now number 2 in the league defensively in terms of points allowed per game. So 17.4. So text line is there for you, by the way, 866-979-3776. 253 says they're playing B-rated offenses. Look at the teams and quarterbacks they're playing against. I guess that's why the defense is good.
Oh, yeah.
Defense has had one down game. One down. Even the Tampa. Tampa, which, it's that wasn't good.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a bad day. They did not play well. Yeah. But that won. 12 other games, even in the losses. I mean, the 49ers, would they give up 17 points?
Yeah.
That was the offense's problem that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. If you want to chalk it up to, every offense they play stinks. All right, help yourself. This defense is the truth. Doesn't mean that they're perfect and can't make mistakes, but I don't know what else you need to see. They can only play who's on the schedule, and they're not just playing well against these teams. They are shutting them down. They are dominating. And they're going to do it easier with bad teams, and but I don't know what else you would want to see that would convince you that you're good. If you're saying, well, they're only this good because every offense they play is B rated. All right. I'm not sure how to respond to that, but they're the second best defense in the league in terms of points allowed, and they've had one bad day.
Yeah, well, and then you look at points per game. They're now second. And Rabel said this on the plane, and it's a very basic statement, but it's very true. If you're averaging, giving up 17, 18 points a game, and you're on offense averaging 30, you're going to win a lot of football games. A lot of football games. So simple statement, but very true, and that's basically what the outcome was there.
Yeah, a lot of text coming in. Somebody correcting you, saying Julian Love had 20 snaps.
What did I say?
I don't know.
I thought I said 10 or 20.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know ball. The offense is still not to put together a full game, says Patrick in Tacoma. Somebody pointing out in Tampa they were missing 5 of their starters. Yeah, but they didn't do the basics. You pointed that out about setting the edges in that game, and it was just a sloppy game. They didn't play well.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting that people are sort of skeptical of the defense. I get it about the offense. By the way, both sides of the ball top 5 in the NFL.
Right.
Points scored, points allowed. Mm-hmm. It's really, really impressive.
Those are pretty important stats too, I would say.
Yeah, very. Sam Darnold after the game talked about the slow start and what it was he liked about that second half.
Start that we wanted to offensively. I think we did, most of everything that we wanted to. We just didn't finish in the red zone. And so I think for us, that's kind of been a theme. We just got to continue to finish in the red zone and harp on that throughout the week. But we did a great job in the second half of coming back and finishing the game strong. And I feel like our defense and obviously our special teams, the way that they started the second half was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, and that was, I think Rabel was saying that reminded him of the Super Bowl 48. You come out of halftime and got 100-yard. And I thought that was so important to get Shaheed going. And, he really, I feel like got a lot of confidence in that game. But, yeah, I mean, Darnold only got sacked 2 times. I mean, this was a team that blitzed a lot and coming in especially. And after having looked at that Minnesota game, by the way, they smoked somebody. Who was Minnesota shut
Commanders.
out? The Commanders.
Now Jake Daniels is hurt again.
Yeah.
Disaster for them.
But yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of hand wringing over. They're gonna blitz Sam, and then it's gonna be a problem. And I thought he did a really good job of stepping up in the pocket. A couple of times you saw him. That one touchdown that he threw to JSN, it was just a 4-yard throw, but he found a tunnel of there was guys that were flying upfield, and he found a way to get up and throw the pass for the touchdown. So kept his eyes downfield. And that's something I don't think he was doing last week, but man, he was just getting peppered off the edge. So, yeah, there was lots of people that were worried about, okay, this is a blitzing team as well. I think they were second as far as their blitz rate.
Behind Minnesota.
Yeah. So they handled it pretty well, only sacked twice.
253 says they have a good defense, but let's look at this stretch coming up, Rams, 49ers. Yeah, that's fair, but keep in mind they already played the Rams, and yeah, they lost the game. Defense was great in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it being a very unique loss, and that you came away from it feeling very inspired and really realizing how good that defense is. Matt Stafford barely completed 50% of his passes and threw for 130 yards in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They had the ball 4 times on the Seahawks side of the field due to turnovers, and they were still in danger of losing that game on the final play. Why? Because the defense was spectacular.
Yeah.
So even in a loss, the defense was outstanding. So the idea that they haven't played anybody or everybody's a B-rated offense or B-rated quarterback or what have you. I mean, Stafford had thrown 2 picks at the time in that game. He was the MVP in many discussions, the leading MVP candidate. So, and you were on their home field.
Yeah.
But, it's all I guess it's all for naught until they beat those teams. But that was not the defense's fault in that game. Another one from Sam just talked about, we saw him use his legs more, saw him run a little bit out there.
I just, I tried to take some of the opportunities that the defense gave me. I was going through my reads, and if something wasn't there, it was just, not panicking and just understanding that I could get out of the pocket and make something happen with my legs.
Yeah, he did. What did he rush for? He rushed for, not huge yards, but 3 carries, 23 yards. Had a 12-yard scramble. So if he can get that done, that's good. It adds to the total, the rushing total. Again, they weren't huge. Nobody. Ken Walker had the most carries, and he had 10.
Yeah.
So they don't really commit to any one back, and they kind of spread it around, but they ended up with 129 yards on 26 carries, which is a 5-yard per carry average, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, and I thought also, they had a lot of the longest runs were, or longest plays, I should say, were runs. So, yeah, I think that was kind of cool. They had Charbonnet and what do you have, a 27-yard?
27-yarder.
Yeah.
It was a kid they brought in the
Velus Jones.
Yeah, he had a 25-yarder.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was kind of in, garbage time, but still, you got it done. They were still fighting out there. Charbonnet had a 21-yard run. So, yeah, they chipped away at him. So,
yeah. The one thing that stood out to me is that the first half wasn't good. Darnold wasn't great. The offense as a whole wasn't great. But that and he had a turnover, no touchdowns, 1 pick. And the way he responded in the second half and the way the offense responded in the second half, that was a big deal because it felt like, oh, boy, here we go. We've been praising him for his ability to just, kind of tuck away a mistake and not let it impact him. And I think that's what we saw in this game is it wasn't a stellar first 67 passing yards and 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't good. And then for them to do what they did and what he did, more importantly, kind of had that swagger back and that looked confident out there throwing the ball.
Well, and I think, this team's more connected than people think. That, it's not like the offense is one entity and the defense is the other. It's like they mix it and like, okay, we're playing pretty good defense right now, man. We held them to 6 points in the first half, so we can kind of be patient, and we don't have to push the panic button or anything. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Again, like like I was saying, like a body blow, and just soften them up, and then you'll get to some plays later on. And a lot of those were set up, and they were waiting for that cover one on the two crossers. I mean, for example. So, there was still plenty of time, no panic, but it's not like they aren't looking at the defense and what they're doing. If they're giving you the luxury to do that, you can be a little bit more patient, and you don't have to break open a whole new group of plays that you haven't worked on during the week. You can just stay with the plan and see if it gets to a certain point where, okay, we've got to start taking some shots, and we've got to do this and that. I mean, more high risk type of plays. Then yeah, I mean, if you're behind, that's what you got to do. But they didn't have to do that. They had that luxury, and I think they're going to have that luxury most of the rest of the year because this defense is just playing at such a high level.
Yeah, 360 saying the reason you didn't make that bet, talking about the over for Seahawks win total, is the same reason people won't take this team seriously until they win a championship. Sam Darnold, he's the unknown. So they're not to be taken seriously until they win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's how people think. I really do. I think they're like, can we win the Super Bowl or not? And, if they see Sam Darnold have a bad performance, they're like, oh, we can't win a Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that's, a lofty praise. You're thinking, okay, this team is in that ilk of teams that could make it to the Super Bowl and win. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the standard. I think it's a pretty high standard.
Yeah, it's well, we'll see what they do. It's some people are tougher to convince, I guess. So, I hope it doesn't take away your enjoyment of the season, because this is fun watching this team, watching this defense in particular is a lot of fun watching what they're doing out there.